Today we are going to create patterns, and we are going to create it based off of very simple geometric shapes. In this particular case, I'm just going to use the rectangle, right? And I'll show you that even just by having these very basic things, and you can say the knowledge of how to use your tool, which is GIMP, right? You'll actually be able to create quite intricate types of patterns. So first and foremost, when creating a pattern, because you'll actually be relying on some kind of a guide quite a lot, right? So it's usually pertinent, it's usually important that you actually have the guide, right? So you just go to guide and create the guides smack in the center like that, right? I'm just gonna use a rectangle like that. I would like it to expand from the center, and I'll just do something like that, right? Just create the rectangle, it looks something like that, right? And I'm just gonna create new layer. You might want to make it a point to always create a new layer when you're going to create a pattern like this, right? Fill with foreground color, so I have that bit of square or a rectangle, right? I'm just going to create another rectangle. This time around I'm going to create a square, and so I'm going to start from the center again, right? Just like that, exact same size. Alrighty, and again, let's call it pattern 2, right? Okay, and fill with foreground color. So now technically we have two things, right? And I'm just gonna rotate it 45 degrees like that. So I'm trying to get a hexagon, but not an equilateral hexagon, right? So I'm just gonna do something like this. Then I'm just going to do something like that. Oopsie. Right. This time around, I'm just going to do that. Right. Making sure that I want to make sure that I am cutting both the edges of the tilted rectangle, tilted square, as well as the rectangle. So I'll have something like that, and then it's just a matter of now I want to divide this into two parts. So I'm just going to cut it, Control X and Control V, right? Then I'm just going to move it towards the other side. Just like that, right? And then I'm just going to move this to the other side as well, just like that, right? So now I have a hexagon, not an equilateral hexagon, I don't think, or maybe it is, I'm not really sure, right? Let's say I'm satisfied with this shape. What I can do is I can just merge it down like this, merge down, so I have that hexagon, right? Let's say I want to do something else. If you notice from the video, they had the professor had a hollow kind of hexagon. So I can come up with something like that as well. I can just duplicate this. So when you do patterns, it's just a matter of creating something that maybe you like, a shape that you like. Then you can just duplicate that and then repeat the same process over and over and over again. Right? So I'm just gonna use this pattern copy and select it just like that, and select and shrink it by maybe 20 point, right? So now it's shrunk, and I'm just gonna fill it with background color, or I'm just gonna fill it with background color first, right? So I have this kind of a pattern, right? I can now merge it down. So I have a hexagon, technically speaking, a hollow hexagon. Let's say this is not really hollow because the center is white actually. So if I want it to be hollow, it's very simple. I just select that white and then just delete that part. So now I have a hollow hexagon like that. Now I can do something like this. I can duplicate this, right, and then move it so that I have something like that, right, which is almost exactly similar to what we have with regards to the professor lah. Right, so I have something like that. Let's say I'm satisfied. Okay, this looks center enough, for example. Right, so this is where the guide come in handy, right? Then I can just merge it down like that. So I have this pattern already. Let's say I'm happy with this pattern, right? And I want to do some more things with it. I can just duplicate it, right? Then again, I can play around with it just like that. Then I will have a somewhat like a pattern now that looks something like this. When or if you're doing this, you'll notice at one point that the guide is no longer useful. For example, in this particular case, I find that the guide actually makes it harder for me to look at the lines and etc. For example, I don't want the lines to overlap like this. Meaning I want them to not be seen. I want them to be seen as just the same line. So let's say I'm happy with this. Again, I can, if I want to, I can just duplicate this down. Or let's say, you know what? I think the original pattern just now can be useful. I can just make a copy. In fact, it's a pretty good idea to always make a duplicate of a layer that you like. Oopsie. So that just in case later you're not happy with the finalized product, you can at least turn back to the layer that you really liked before. Right, so I'm just gonna now I'm gonna use this path thingy because let's say I want to color this part lah. Right, so I'm just going to use the path, color that part, control and right. So I have that path to selection, and I'm just going to color with a different color. Let's say, let's go with red or something. Right, okay. Edit, fill with foreground color. Right. And let's put it, shoot. Yeah, maybe I want to create a new layer here, right? Let's call it the fill or something, fill layer or something, right? And edit fill with foreground color. Put that way at the bottom here so that it becomes something like that. So now it's a pattern with some kind of color in between. Now I can duplicate this because I know that the size is right. Just put it on this side, so I have that kind of a layout. Let's say I'm happy with this. Okay, right. Let's say I'm happy with this. Then I can just merge it down. Merge down, merge down, merge down. Let's say I'm happy with this as well. This is this basic pattern is quite nice. For example, I can make a copy again, duplicate layer, right? Make it invisible. So this is, you can say this is the practice that I usually do. If I find something that, oh, this looks nice, I don't know where it will go. If I edit some more later, it might look nice or it might not look nice. So maybe I want to make a duplicate of that, right? Then let's say I can do something like this. So you can just turn it like this and rotate it. Let's say I'm happy with that, right? I can then do something like this. I can create a new file, right? Let's make it quite big lah. Let's make it, for example, 3000 times 3000 or something, right? Then I can just go here and just take this layer and just bring it to the new file just like that. It will just be there. Here you can see that it actually follows the original sizing. For some reason I cannot make it shrink, so I can just cut this, Control X, right, and then Control V, right, and then just get rid of this copy. Delete layer. Now I have this layer. which I can duplicate and then play around with the shape so that I get a pattern. Right, merge it down, duplicate, and then I can play around and resulting in a pattern. Okay. Right. So if you want to play around some more with this, you can again you can put some more patterns here to make it a bit more personalized. You know, you can always add a different kind of pattern, a different kind of shape in the background or something, right? Resulting in a very personalized kind of layout, right? So today's exercise is just creation of patterns, creation of